How is this season, which has been so great so far? How is it? You said like, especially this season, like, how is this season different for you?
For me, because I am a friend of the show this season, so that's definitely a lot more fun for me because I wasn't at all of the events and there was COVID going on and all sorts going on. It was a crazy season, it really was. But it was fun for me. So I could sort of show up and be here and there and go support Toya. And it was amazing to go to the March on Washington. That was like a life-changing event. It was so fantastic to be a part of that. But it's just been fun for me this season. It's not been as heavy as perhaps the first season was.
How challenging was it, to deal with COVID? Like, COVID was a factor on set, like not just in filming, but like in the storyline, like in quarantine. Like, how was that to film during all of that?
I got COVID and Dr. Simone got COVID, her husband got COVID, Contessa got COVID. So it was crazy. Like we didn't know how bad we're going to get it, what's going to happen. So Duncan and I had to quarantine and we had to separate from the kids for 14 days, which was the hardest part because they
Wow.
just fend for yourselves, Uber Eats, delivery. Thank God for delivery. I mean, we lived on meal delivery because
Yeah.
if you have COVID, nobody wants to deal with you. Like it's not, there's no friends with love and COVID.
No, there's not.
No one wants to take you in.
Were your kids secretly, a little bit, like they were scared, but were they like, great, we get to eat out, order in every
My
night?
son thought it was an adventure because he's so independent. Our daughter hid in her room for 3 days, didn't want to come down, wouldn't even speak to us, even on Zoom, unless she was wearing a mask and gloves. She was like, it was like we were a couple of lepers in our own home.
How nice was it to have a doctor for a husband? Because like in the beginning, we were really all so scared because of COVID. Like that must have been at least, and even to be a part of the show around all these doctors, like during COVID.
Yeah, it was great having doctors because the pulsometer, Dr. Contessa, I called her right afterwards and I'm like, I have it too. And she's like, oh, get the pulsometer, check your breathing. And that was the main thing because if your breathing goes, then you're going to get it badly. So I had that pulsometer, I was checking it. And of course, Duncan, is there telling me all the symptoms, what to worry about, what not to worry about. And thank God we didn't get it too bad.
That's good. I had it too. I didn't have it so
Yeah.
bad either.
Yeah.
We know, you're still very close with Toya all these years later. What is it about Toya that makes your friendship so special?
I think initially we sort of went through the trenches together, after the fight at my house and all of that. Like it was like everything was stripped down. We were honest with each other. We sort of it broke down years of that would normally take to build in a friendship. We sort of knew where we stood with each other. So I think it gave us a great foundation. And Toya can be difficult. I'm not saying she's the easiest person to get along with, but you always know where you stand with her. And I like that because she's straight up. She's not fake. I mean, people will say things about her, but she's a real girl. Like she is a good friend and she will sometimes say things, but at least she'll say it to your face. She won't talk behind your back.
I'm from New York, so I relate to that type of personality. I'm very wary of people that are too nice to me. I'm just like,
Yeah,
you can't be this happy all the time. I mean, come on now.
I know. And I prefer that. When I first went to New York, I was like, I prefer that. At least you know what you're dealing with. Whereas with some people, and I'm not going to mention names, but you never, ever know what you're dealing with.
Well, on that note, throughout all the seasons, like when you look back, what's kind of the high for you and what's kind of the low?
Um, the high was definitely the March on Washington. The low, and also meeting Al Sharpton and all that dinner was amazing. Like it in the episode, it didn't get to show everything because obviously you only have an hour, but it was the stories that we were listening to. It was just, there was no dry eye. Like everybody was so moved at that dinner. It was such a fabulous event. I mean, something I will never forget for the rest of my life. And the March on Washington, like that was, to be a part of that was amazing. So that,
Yeah.
the low, I would say, was the pool party at my house. That was the low for me.
The husband's birthday party.
Yeah, the black eye event.
As far as like the March on Washington, I mean, like it's amazing that like Bravo can incorporate this into
Oh,
this show. I mean, how much like it sounds like you got that dinner with Al Sharpton. It really went on for a long time. Like you, I mean, of course, you can only show an hour.
yeah, and with Tom Crump, I mean, it was really, really just fabulous to listen to their stories and what they have seen in their lifetime and experience. Like it was something I wasn't aware of. And I think everybody there was moved. I mean, it was a great dinner. And for Bravo to do that was really amazing.
That's what I was gonna say. Like when you look back at this season, like you must be proud to be part of a show that is showing these things. I mean, these are the real things of what are going on in the world.
It was, yeah, and to do that and to have, everybody at the march, like it was people from all over the world, from all different nationalities, like everybody wanting to be an ally, everybody wanting to show their support. And so for me, yeah, I'm a white girl, but I want to be an ally as much as I can. So for me to go was great. I'd marched here with my daughter and we'd been downtown when they had the National Guard down there and CNN building was burning and all this crazy stuff going on in Atlanta. So to go to such an organized and very, like, there wasn't any violence, there wasn't any people being crazy. Like it was such a well organized day. It was amazing.
Yeah. What about, mentioning your low, this party, you and Mariah have, there's no love loss, I think, between the two of you. Was that part of, you being a friend this season? Like, I mean, at least is there like some sigh of relief that Mariah is not part of this friend group at this
I
moment?
mean, Mariah and we've completely forgiven each other. If I see her, we're very friendly. I wish her the best. I wish her family the best. But yeah, it's been different not having her around. I think everybody seems a little bit calmer, a little bit. It's a lot easier, it seems.
Who do you think, who are you least close to in this group? I mean, we know you're closest to Toya.
Well, least close. Heavenly and I have had some issues this season. She can be very antagonistic, and I grew up the baby of the family. I'm never one to back down. I always have the last word. Like as three older brothers always telling me what to do, I was very much I never back down. And so it's hard for me. If she's going to be saying things, I'm not going to be silent.
Right. Do you think having these three brothers like prepared you for this group of women that are very outspoken and
Oh,
all have something to
I'm
say?
I'm ready for anything. And I think that's, the misconception about me. Sometimes people think because I'm polite that I'm weak. I'm not. I'm just, I went to an all girls convent school. I learned to deal with the biggest bitches in the world. Like I can handle myself.
You think, is that like a big misconception of you? Just, I'm telling you, it's the accent. It's like, it's so elegant. Everything said with it. And I understand that. I've traveled all over the world too. When we as Americans are in Australia or the UK or many other places, it's the same thing. But you think it's the accent that here in America, we're just charmed by
I don't
any?
know because I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'm ready.
Well, well, Andy Cohen did call you the queen of class.
He did. That was very sweet. I think because Mariah coined herself the queen bee, so he gave me that title.
That's not a bad title to get from Mr. Cohen.
I was very impressed.
What about, because the show is called Married to Medicine, but we have a lot of like doctors on the show. And we even saw this come up this season, which again, I think this is such a great season, where you're being told you can go sit with the smart group, implying like the
Oh my
doctors. And
God. That got me into so much trouble. I was just repeating what Heavenly had said, but they're all intelligent. I mean, let's face it, all the doctors are super intelligent. But why does there have to be sides? Dr. Eugene said to me, he goes, you didn't have a civil war in your country. He goes, but this is what it's like between these ladies. It's like a civil war. They are on opposite sides at the moment. So
yes, I agree. Did you ever feel like, there was that division, like from the doctors, like that arrogance, or like, just it's been many seasons.
yeah,
Like,
I
did you?
think so. Not from all of them, but from a couple. I think they think because we're married to doctors that we've just married wealthy husbands and we're sitting back eating Cheetos all day and drinking champagne and spending their money, which nothing could be further from the truth. I don't even like Cheetos. So, I mean,
I was gonna say, if that's the truth, then like, I'll come down to Atlanta and maybe you can find me a doctor. Cause I mean, sign me up.
I know plenty of doctors that would like you.
Well, honey, I'll be on the first plane down there. And I also don't like Cheetos, but champagne is okay. What did you think there's other misperceptions of you? Like,
I'm snobby, or that I think I'm better than, you know, that I think I'm better than other people. I do not. Like, I'm very down to earth. But I think maybe because of my accent or because I carry myself in a certain way, that people think I'm, snobby, elitist bitch, and I'm just not.